Welcome to this video, which is the second video on the crash course. In the previous video, I stopped at this location where I was explaining about the Boolean expressions. And as you can see there, I have actually created three variables, result1, result2, and result3. And then I assigned to them the actual result of this Boolean expression. And in the first one, I'm saying, is 5 greater than 3? And if it's true, then it will return true. If it's false, it should return false to that variable. The next one, I said, is 10 not equal 10? Now we know that it equals 10, therefore it should return false, and this false will be assigned to result 2, the variable 2. And in the third one, I am actually checking this string, and I'm saying, is the content of string 1 not equal to the content of string 2? And I put in that string apple, and in the second string I put orange, and we know they are not equal, therefore it should return true. They are not equal, and that true will be assigned to result 3. Now, if you change any of these variables, then you need to change the actual string, the identifier string that you are printing with it. Now, for the sake of this explanation, I will do some changes just to see the result that change, but I will not change the content because I want to keep the content. Once I finish the explanation, I will return it to the original way. So let's run it first as it is here, and you can see I get true, false, and true, because 5 is greater than 3, so it's true. 10 is actually equal to 10, therefore this one should be false. Apple is different from orange, therefore it should be true. Now if I change this and make this into 2, and I run it again, what do I have? Is 2 greater than 3? It's false, therefore it should return false. It's 10 is exactly the same, so if I change this into 10, and if I run it now, it should actually, okay, it actually gave me, because I made a mistake there, I put a 10 instead of this not equal sign. So if I run this again, I should get 2 is not greater than 3, and 10 is actually not equal to 10, that's false. So if I change that into equal sign and run it again, it should give me true because 10 actually equals 2. So you can see by actually changing the condition, things are actually changing. If I change this into equal, it should now tell me that it's actually false because they are not equal. So this is how it is. So if I put this back to 5 to bring it to the original, and I will put this into not equal, and this is into not equal, and that will be the original case what I had originally. Now I am going to talk about the and the or and the not operation. These are logical operations. In the and operation, you have to have both Boolean variables true for the and operation to output to be true, and for the and, if any of these two variables is true, then the Boolean operation or the logical operation or should be true. And in the not operation simply is inverting whatever Boolean result we have. If it's true, we make it false. If it's false, we make it true, and we test that and return the result of that Boolean expression into the relevant variable. So now I have defined A and B to be both false. Therefore, I know both of them, A and B, have to be true for and to be true. And I know that one of them at least need to be true for for the or operation to be true, and I need just to take whatever. If it's true, I will invert it to false. If it's false, I will invert it to true. Therefore, I know the not A, and since A is false, therefore it should return true. So if I run this, you can see that false, false, and true. Now, if I change the variable a into true, now if I run it, I should have for an OR operation true, because one of them is true. If I say true or false, it should give me true. If I say true or true, it should give me true. If I say false and false, it should give me false. So it's not a problem here. But for the AND, I need both of them to be true to give me true. So if I run this, it should give me false, true, and false. Because what happened here, it took a true and it inverted it to a false, therefore it returned a false. In the first time when I run it, it was A was false, therefore it was inverted to true and it returned a true. But in this case, it took A as true, it inverted to false, and it will return false. So now if I change B into true, and if I run this, I should have the AND and the OR, both of them true. So I have AND true because it requires both to be true, and OR will be true because it requires both of them, or at least one of them, to be true to return a true. Therefore, this is how these logical operations work, and we will be using this in machine learning a lot, and especially when we are talking about checking the actual status of something in a data set to actually return it, or if we apply some mathematical conditions and we want to check whether that mathematical condition satisfies something or not. Therefore, I will go more in details about it once we start talking about it as we go on. Now, the next thing is using the Boolean in control structure. And in this case, what I did, I actually created a variable and I equated 16 to be assigned to this age. And then I have an if statement, and the condition for this if statement is age greater than or equal to 18. If it's greater or equal, then you are an adult. If not, you are a minor. Now, what happens? You need to check the structure of the if statement here. If you compare this to Java or C, you will have if brackets, and in the brackets you put the condition. And if that condition is satisfied, then you execute the if statement. If it's not satisfied, you skip it. In here, it's exactly the same. If it's satisfied, you execute. If it's not satisfied, you skip. However, the way we write it is different. I don't have brackets around the condition. What I have a termination. I have a colon there to terminate this condition. And once I write, I use the indentation, which is also again used in other languages, but because there is no brackets here, it's better to actually understand where the indentation needs to be. Now, if you hit the return, it will give you the correct position of your indentation, and as you can see, I have actually positioned my print statement in the correct location. And if I execute this, it should actually give me the result, you're a minor, because this condition is not satisfied. And since it's not satisfied, the if statement is not executed. However, if I change this to 18 or greater, and if I run it again, it will actually execute the if statement, and it will say you are an adult. So you need to understand the structure of the if statement, how it actually differs from other languages, and you need to be able to repeat this structure every time you are writing Python code. The next cell, I am actually going to show you how we create a list, and I actually showed two ways to create a list. The first, I have created a list which is square bracket, and it has some values inside it separated by commas, and this is manually created by me. And the second is actually automatically created cell, where I iterate over something and I actually positioned or entered values into the cell which I have created. Now, the first cell I created, I assigned it to a variable called numbers. Then I used this cell to create this list to create a second list automatically. And I have created even numbers because I want to iterate over the values entered in this original cell, original list, and by iterating over the cells within this list and checking if it's true or not. If they are, the numbers I am actually reading are even. If they are even, I will enter them into the new list. If they are odd, I will drop them and I will move to the next one by using a for loop. And you know the for loop actually iterate over the numbers that we have in that loop. So what happens here? I actually said for numbers, which is these numbers in the first list, for numbers in numbers. So numbers here is the name of the list here, which is assigned earlier. If, so this is the condition I want to check each of these variables. If you divide this number, which is going to be first this number, then this number, then that number, all the way until we get to the end. If we divide that number, and I used the percentage sign, which means the remainder of the division, okay? Not the division itself, the result of the division, but the remainder of the division. If that equals 0, then that number is even. If it's not equal 0, then that number is odd. And if it's even, it will be executed. If it's not even, it will not be executed, i.e. the execution is actually inserting the number in the new list. Okay? If it's not, we skip and we go to the next number. So if I run this now, you will see it has actually selected only the even numbers. Now, if I change, and I'm here for the sake of the explanation, if I change this to say not equal, now it will not contain even number, the new list, it will contain the odd numbers. So if I run this, you can see now the numbers have actually changed to the odd numbers. Now, if I wanted the odd numbers, then I need to change that also to odd numbers. For this statement to be correct, it will say odd numbers are actually given in this list. So because it's actually was intended for even numbers, then I will use the equal sign and to satisfy the condition. And now we are back to selecting the even numbers. Now, you've seen how we created a string earlier, and I showed you that we created a number string, and two ways of actually creating that, and I will be talking about it later on in more details. Now, if I want to create a string of characters, there is three methods to actually create that. One, I will use a single quote to actually put my string within single quotes, or double quotes, or I will use three quotes for a string of multi-lines, where I want the strings to, if it's more than a line and I want it to actually appear as lines, then I will actually comment these the strings in three quotes, three double quotes, as I have done here. Can you see? This is the opening three quotes, and this is the closing three quotes, and then I put my string on the first line, second line, third line. I can put fourth line, fifth line, and sixth line, and so on. It doesn't really matter. And the length of that string can be anything. Okay, it should actually appear as we enter it. So if I run this, you can see that I have created. Now I can actually add more into this, and if I run this now, can you see it actually brings that as one line. If I put more here or more here, it should actually do it in the same way. So let me remove this because I don't want to damage or clutter my Jupyter Notebook, which I will be sharing with you. So if I run it again, we should have this as is shown. Okay. Next, I am actually going to format a new string by joining strings together. Okay. Now I have created two strings, and I assigned in the first string some characters in double quotation, and I use the first name, and I said the name is John, and the second name is Do, and it can be any name. You can put whatever you want there for the first name. It doesn't have to be John. It could be Naeem, Ali, Hamid, whatever it is. It's up to you. Or it could be Clara, Franklin, or whatever name you want. Biden, Putin, Zelensky, whatever you want, you can put there. I don't really care. Let's not get political. Okay, so and how do? I need to actually print these two strings next to each other, and I added a space between them to make it clear, because if I don't have a space, it will be John Doe without a space, and I wanted the space to be available there. Therefore, it's important for us to actually understand how this is going to be formatted. So what did I do? I created a full name string, and then I said this is equal to first name, which it will bring John, and then I use the concatenation sign, which is the plus sign, and as you can see, I actually added a space, and then after the space I concatenated the last name, which is, I said last name, I put the variable there, and it should bring Dewey in there. So if I run this, it should print for me the content of full name. So if I run this, you can see that it's there. Now if I remove this, okay, and if I run this without a space, it should print them next to each other, and that's not really it doesn't look good, and it doesn't reflect a full name, because if you are actually talking about some Chinese or some other languages available, and when they write the names, it could actually be written in that form. Therefore, you will not know which is the first name, which is the second name, and that's why we added the space there, and it was just to show you that you can have a space to actually separate these two names to indicate. So printing format is something useful, and you should get used to it. You should actually play with the formatting of the printing statement to understand the structure. It's very easy, and while you are playing, you will make mistakes. You will collect these mistakes, and then you will understand the actual format a little bit more than you can think. So if I run this again, you can see now I have, sorry, I ran the wrong one. Okay, now you can see that I actually have the space here again. Now, in this second one, if I have a string and I want to repeat this string, and I want to repeat it a number of times, then what I will do, I will use the multiplication operation. I will take the string and I will multiply it by something, and that multiplication will repeat it depending on how many times I want to actually repeat it. So if I run this, you can see I actually have hello, which is the first string, then I have another hello and another hello. So I repeated the string a number of times, and I can actually create a string, a new string from an original string, by using this method also. So you can actually have a string that is actually have repetition. It's not going to be unique variable, unique content in that string. They can be repeated content, and you can actually shuffle that, then it's actually not in order, and so on. So now if I change this to 5, then it should be repeated 5 times, and you can see it actually works. Now, if I have a string, I should be able to access individual characters without string, because individual characters can be, how shall I say, can be accessed based on their index. And when we talk about indexing, then we start at index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, index 5. Even though I have 6 characters here, but I will say they are from 0 to 5. And if I want to access that, then what I will do, I will actually take this list, or I can actually say I want position 0. So I will put square bracket and I will put the index that I want to see. And in this case, I am actually using the indexing method to access individual character within that list. That's what I am doing. And in this case, it should print for me P for this. Now, if I change this to 5, it should actually go and print for me N, and so on. Or I can actually do slicing. And by the way, what I'm explaining here is going to be correct for arrays, for different type of strings, for lists, for dictionaries, and so on. We will access them all in the same manner. So it's very important for you to understand this part here. So what I'm saying, I have this list and I want from position 1 all the way to position 4. I will include position 1, but I will not include position 4. That means I will have 1, 2, and 3. Index 1, 2, and 3. The content of index 1, 2, and 3 will be displayed. The others will be dropped. So this is how it is. So let's run this and see. Okay, so I got P and I got index 1, index 2, and index 3. Therefore, it's very important. If I change this to 5, and if I change this to 5, and I run this, now it actually contains index 1, 2, 3, and 4. It does not include 5. However, if I remove this 5, and now run this, it actually saying that you start from position 1 all the way to the end. So it will include N and it will include the O. I haven't defined where it stopped. It should go all the way to the end. And this is how we actually access things based on index. I will stop the video here and I will continue with you in the next video. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next.